Welcome to the weather report with me, Susie Cowper. Not really. Welcome to the TeaCosyFolk knitting vlog with me, Susie Cowper, where there's certainly to be some knitted tea cozies coming in later on in the afternoon. I've got loads to get through today. I've got chocolate orange cozies to talk to you about and next year's calendar idea, and I also have tea cozies to show you, and there's loads of things for Halloween, and so much to get through. So I need to talk about all that, and I'm going to kick off, as I always do, with the Terry's Chocolate Orange Cosy that's in this year's calendar for September. And it's this little acorn. He's really cute. It looks like he's got a hat on. Usually they're the other way up, aren't they, acorns? You know, that way. But, you know, he's this way up and he's wearing the acorn holder bit that the tree makes, like a little hat. And he's got a couple of leaves on his head. So this is what you'll be knitting if you bought the 2025 knitting pattern calendar. And while I'm on, and it fits a Terry's Chocolate Orange. And while I'm on chocolate oranges, this week on the 11th of September, the Budgie Terry's Chocolate Orange pattern will be available to buy on the website. And it was February's in this year's knitting pattern calendar. But this little pattern will be available as a standalone pattern. So if you just wanted the Budgie, you'll be able to pop on the website and get the Budgie pattern and knit your own Terry's Chocolate Orange Cosy. So now, next year, I'm thinking we're going to have a little change to the knitting pattern calendar. Instead of a physical knitting pattern calendar this year, because, you know, all the prices are going up because of the economic climate and the price of posting is so expensive. I'm not going to do physical calendars this next year. What I thought we would do instead, because I know knitters love to have a new project to knit every month. So the new concept will be a new knitting pattern will be available every month. And it will still be a Terry's Chocolate Orange Cosy knitting pattern. And it'll come out every month. So you'll be able to pop along, buy it and have that knitting pattern to knit, and you'll knit that cozy. But like the calendars, you can prepay to have all 12 patterns sent to you on the 1st of every month, all of next year. So on the 1st of every month you'll have a new knitting project every month for a Terry's Chocolate Orange, and if you're paying individually you'll wait a bit longer than the 1st of every month, because it'll only be the subscribers that get it on the 1st of the month. The others will get it on the following Thursday. But anyway, this is my idea. I know it's really complicated. It's really difficult to explain. But so I'm doing a subscription thing, and the page will be live for you to subscribe now. I'll put the link down below. And if you want to receive all 12 patterns, you subscribe, pay one-off fee, and you'll get all the 12 patterns. Notifications will be sent out on the 1st of the month to say the next subscription's ready for you to go on and download. Or you wait until the following Thursday after the 1st of each month and go and find the knitting pattern and download it the normal way. So that's what I'm planning to do. Right, now I've got that out the way of how it all works. I haven't actually designed any of the 12 chocolate orange cozies yet. So if you have an idea of what you'd love to knit for a Terry's Chocolate Orange, let me know either in the comments below, or ping me an email, or talk to me on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere. Find me, I'm everywhere. So if you type in TeaCosyFolk social media, you'll find me. Get a message to me and let me know what you would like in this subscription of chocolate orange cozies, and I'll pick 12 that I think are the best, and they'll be what's next year's. So it won't be a calendar, but it's, I don't know, similar to one. So that'll be good. Whew. that was a lot of information to get across. So now we'll move on to something else. This is a little tea cosy I've been working on as a bespoke tea cosy, and it's the life cycle of a sunflower. And I'll show you around the cosy first, and then I'll tell you why I designed it. So the main part of the cosy is a sunflower seed. You know, they're black and white and stripy. Well, they can be brown, but this one's black and white, and I really like it. It looks really autumnal, you know, it's a bit Beetlejuice looking. I quite like that. And this is the little seedling. So we've got the seed to the seedling, and this is, you know, when it starts to sprout up and the bud starts to form and it's all closed in, ready to burst. And then round this side there's the flowering sunflower. So, you know, it's all big and in bloom and the height of summer. And then in the autumn they go over and start to die, and the seeds start to form in the head, and you know, and that's the cycle, and then it's back to seed and seedling. So, you know, it's the life cycle of a sunflower. That was the inspiration. But there was a lady in Australia who wanted to knit a tea cosy to put in a show, and it was an agricultural show, and the theme was sunflowers, and we came up with this concept, and I think well, I know the show's already gone by, or it's very close, and I'm not going to release the pattern until after the show, so nobody else can knit one and gazumpa. So, but she's going to knit the cosy and put it in the show in Australia, so that's really exciting. Fingers crossed we get a prize. But so this is the tea cosy, and the knitting pattern will be available to buy on the website on the 18th of September. You know, and if you don't want the whole cycle of a sunflower, you know, you could just have lots of flowering ones, or maybe the bud and the flower ones coming up and coming up around the seed, and that would be a lovely tea cosy as well, wouldn't it, with glorious big sunflowers everywhere. It would be glorious with lots of lovely big blooming sunflowers coming up, wouldn't it? It'd look spectacular, brilliant. So that pattern will be on the website on the 18th. What I'm working on at the moment is a Halloween sweet box cover, and here he is. Ooh, does he look spooky? Ooh, look at his fingers. His fingers are very spooky. Look, this hand's not quite finished, but you know, they're bony and spindly, and they're quite, I don't know, quite big really. And so they hang over the box and in the box, and you know, they're supposed to give you the creeps a bit. You know, if they brush against you as you take a sweet out, that'd be really good. And the skull is quite spooky with his evil eyes. So yeah, so this is what I'm working on at the moment, and because you know, it's for trick-or-treating, so you can fill the box up with sweets. It's on a Quality Street box, look, but I suppose other boxes would fit, and it just slots on, fits over the sides, and then you build in around it. So you can always take the box out if you needed the box back for anything, you know, or if you wanted to wash it. But he's just really spooky, isn't he? And it's just to give the children a bit of a fright. And he will be available hopefully on the website in the start of October, but because I'm at that stage now, and I'm just test knitting him, and I've nearly finished test knitting him, so he will be available at the start of October, so you'll be able to knit one in time for Halloween. And it's with the skull that I'm gonna do this week's tip, so prepare for the TeaCosyFolk tip. So this month's tip is about the importance of pinning things on before you start sewing. And I think the best thing for that is faces. You know, this is where I find I mainly pin things in place before I sew, because, you know, faces are really they're the integral part, aren't they, of any design? And you know, and I give you the pieces, but ultimately it's you who gives your cosies their character, you know, and it's about pinning on the face and where you sew things and how you set them out. That's what gives every piece its character, and I'm going to show you that now on this skull. So, you know, here I've got his mouth going along, and that's not properly sewn on. I just did something quick just to give me the impression of what I'm going to do. But now actually I've seen it in place, I'm going to, because it's just straight, I was going to go straight along. But I'm thinking he needs to have a bit of a smile at the corners, you know, a sinister smile. So I'm going to give him a bit of a sinister grin. So it'll look a bit like that at the ends. And then the teeth markings. That, you know, and the ribs really helpful here for putting on the teeth. You can, you know, follow the lines and it helps set things out so it's, you know, neat and evenly spaced. Right, so here the nose needs to be, so it's 2 rows up from the last row of the teeth, and it has to be there because, you know, otherwise the forehead won't be big enough for the eyes, and it'll look like the eyes are at the top of the head, which will look a bit strange. So these are the eyes. These are the eye sockets. So, you know, you can put them on any way you like. So there's little corners on these that, you know, on that side to give it a bit of shape, and they want to be going outwards. So look, you need to put the eye sockets on so that it leaves a bit of head at the top. But look, that looks quite comical. And then if you were to put spooky eyes on, oh, the ends, oh, crikey. Right, so look, we'll put those close together, and then if you perhaps add one there and one there, look, that immediately, look, he's not scary now at all, is he? He just looks comic, he looks funny. Or if you were to put them in the middle, he would look quite comical as well. You know, so it's you who's in control of the character of your tea cosy, or in this case, Halloween skull. So I do find as well, if you pin things on first, if there's a lot of things to put into place, like there is with this skull, sometimes you do want to jiggle them around before you leave them where you want them, because, you know, because you want to move them around and have a look and see what kind of character it gives him. So I've got the eyes in place there, the eye sockets. And then I'm going to go for spooky this time. So I think he needs to be looking at you. Look, straight ahead. It's intimidating, isn't it, when they're looking at you? So that's one of his eyeballs. And the other, I really like the red, because, you know, other than the red, there's not much colour on this box cover, and it really makes the eyes look staring because they're in such a bright red. Right, and the same with the eyebrows. These are the eyebrows, and the bigger end is for the centre, and it tapers out like your eyebrows do. And you know, if you start down there and put it on and up and over his eye, you know, that looks quite scary. But you know, if you put them up there, all of a sudden he's quite comical and funny, cartoony. So it really makes a difference where you put them. So it is better to have a play before you sew them down, to make sure, you know, your creation's got the right expression for you. But I do like, you know, that looks quite sinister, doesn't it? Evil eyebrows. So that's the tip for today, especially when you're making faces, is pin on all the little components and play with them, move them around and have a look and see which expression you like the best. You know, there's different expressions for different occasions. You know, you wouldn't want Santa looking all cross, but for a school head, it's quite good to have him looking mean and evil. So yeah, play around before you sew, and use pins. Pins are brilliant, but I do advise get the pins with the big bobble heads, because you know those little silver ones, they're quite, you know, you lose the end of the pin and the pin's gone. But if you use the big knobbly pins, you can always see them, so they're easy to find, so you can make sure there's no pins left in your project after you've finished it. Another little project that I'm working on is not a story sack, because it's for a nursery rhyme, but it's that kind of thing. So they're little characters to act out a nursery rhyme for children, you know, because kids are very visual, aren't they, and they like to see things happening, and it's all about imagination and, you know, and getting their little minds busy. And the little story sack that I'm creating is for the song Five Little Monkeys Jumping on the Bed, and so I've got to make 5 little monkeys that I thought would be best as finger puppets, because, you know, if you're the person who's acting out this little song, 5 monkeys and a bed and a doctor is a lot to hold all at the same time. So so they're going to be finger puppets that go on your fingers, and then I'm going to make a little bed so you can be kind of doing this kind of action. That's what I'm thinking. And then I'm going to have a little doctor, because the doctor's quite important, because he's the authoritarian figure saying no more monkeys jumping on the bed. So I want to do a doctor, and because, you know, I don't know what your GP looks like. You probably don't know. Nobody gets to see one anymore. Oh, that's very political. No more of that. But, you know, when you think of a doctor, I remember when I was a kid, doctors always, you know, our doctor that we saw anyway, he always wore a suit and he had spectacles on, and he was quite old, you know, and I suppose doctors are quite old generally, because for their younger years, they're studying, so you don't get to see them till they're middle-aged and onwards. So I've got an old looking doctor, that's what I'm going to design, and he's going to be in a white coat, because I think, you know, regardless of what doctors do look like, I think, you know, when you imagine one, the stereotypical white coat, stethoscope. So that's what I'm going to kind of design, and he's going to be the authoritarian figure telling the naughty monkeys off. So I'm working on this at the moment, and I'm doing all the design work. And it's I'm doing it because I'm making one for a school, for, you know, for the children, so a teacher will be using it. So I'm using it, you know, that's why I'm designing it for an adult to hold and display, because I'm thinking the teacher will be doing it. But, you know, it doesn't have to be for a teacher. You know, children at home would like it, you know, and kids, if there's little monkeys, kids will love it, won't they, and put them on their fingers. Kids like all that. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, and because I've got nothing to show you at the minute, but, you know, the picture, I've had a little picture up to show you what I'm going to be doing. But there's a blog post as well. I'll put the link down below, so if you want to go and read about it and have a look at the design, there's a little video as well. Watch the video, it's fun. So yeah, so I'm working on that at the moment. I know, I'm working on a lot of things at the moment. There's that, there's the skull. I'm also working on the lunar cowl, and I'm making things for Simply Knitting as well. So it's been really busy my end. But I've got one more thing to show you this month, and that is the ant tea cosy. Is the sugar lump ant. So here he is, and he's got a stack of sugar cubes, and he's got his little hands. I love his little hands and his little feet. I think they're really cute. And his little antennae, they're stiffened with cotton buds to keep them upright. But he's cute, isn't he? I didn't know ants could be so cute. When a lady asked me if I would knit an ant tea cosy, that's what she wanted to make herself, because she likes quirky. And I thought, no one's going to want to knit an ant. But actually, after seeing him, he's quite cute. And I do like him. And I love the sugar lumps. The sugar lumps help to support him and them, you know, because there's a lot of weight in this top bit because his head's bigger than his body. But yeah, he's really cute. I really like him. I think he's a triumph. And what is a triumph is Google has had to put in a thing about sugar lump ants, and that they're not a real species. They're just a tea cosy, which I think is brilliant. So Google it. Just Google sugar lump ant and see what Google says. It wants to make sure you know it's not a real species. It's just fake news made up by TeaCosyFolk. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, he's on the website already. He was published last week. So if you want to knit a sugar lump ant, you can pop along and knit one yourself. He's there already. He is cute. He's very good fun. He's very cartoony, and I like that. And that's all I've got to show you this month. So I've got lots to be getting on with. So if you've got any suggestions for chocolate orange cosies, make sure you drop me a line and get those ideas across to me, and then I'll consider them, and I would be choosing 12 to make, you know, for the little subscription. And you know, and if you're thinking, oh, this would be good for that month, tell me which month that you think they're for. That would be really helpful too. So yeah, so I'll be getting on with that. I'll be finishing the skull, so you can knit one for Halloween, and I'll finish the cowl and the monkeys, and I'll show you all that next month. So that will be coming next month. Crikey, that'll be October. Ooh, I wonder if we can do something Halloween-y just for the fun of it. We'll see. Anyway, that's all for now, and I'll see you next month. So you take care, keep knitting, keep safe, and I'll see you in October. Thank you for watching. Bye.